Let's be honest about David, my brother Kevin announced, raising his wine glass toward the gathered family members around my parents' dining room table.
He's 38 years old, still single, works some mysterious job nobody understands, and lives
in that tiny apartment downtown.
Meanwhile, look what I've accomplished. He gestured broadly at the elegant dining room with its crown molding and hardwood floors, the same house where we'd grown up, but which had been transformed over the years, with expensive renovations. I've got the successful law practice, the beautiful family, this incredible home.
I'm actually contributing something meaningful to the world. The Thanksgiving dinner conversation had taken this predictable turn after our cousin Lisa asked about
my work.
Kevin had immediately seized the opportunity to position himself as the family success story while painting me as the disappointing younger brother who'd never quite figured his life out.
Around the table, aunts and uncles nodded politely while my parents looked uncomfortable, but said nothing. The same dynamic that had played out for decades. David does.
What is it again?
Kevin continued, his tone suggesting genuine confusion, rather than malicious intent. Something with computers, online trading? It's so vague.
Meanwhile, I'm building a legal practice that actually helps people, solving real problems, making a real difference in our community. I continued eating my turkey, maintaining the composed expression I'd learned to wear during these family gatherings.
What Kevin didn't know, what none of them knew, was that 6 months earlier, I had quietly purchased the Victorian house we were sitting in when our parents faced foreclosure. The mortgage payments Kevin assumed he was making actually went into an escrow account I controlled.
The property taxes he complained about were paid from a trust I'd established. Even the recent kitchen renovation he'd proudly shown of earlier
had been funded through a loan I'd approved and secured. I'm not criticizing, Kevin added, though his tone suggested otherwise.
We all have different paths in life.
But at some point, don't you think David should contribute something tangible to society instead of just
whatever it is he does? All day, I set down my fork and reached for my briefcase, which I'd placed beside my chair earlier. Inside was a folder I'd brought to this dinner for exactly this conversation, one I'd anticipated based on Kevin's growing confidence about his superior life achievements. You know what, Kevin? I said calmly. You're absolutely right. I should contribute something more tangible to this family. I placed the folder on the table beside the cranberry sauce, opened it deliberately, and removed a document bearing the official seal of the county recorder's office. This might interest everyone, I said, sliding the deed across the table toward my parents. It shows the current ownership of this house. My name is David Morrison, 38 years old, and for the past 15 years I've been building what most people
would consider a remarkably successful career in quantitative finance and real estate investment. I specialize in algorithm-driven property acquisition, developing systems that identify undervalued real estate opportunities before they become obvious to traditional investors.
My work combines data analysis, market prediction, and strategic
capital deployment skills that have generated substantial wealth while maintaining a deliberately low profile. My relationship with my family, particularly my older brother Kevin, has always been complicated by fundamental differences in how we approach success and recognition.
Kevin chose law partly for its visible social status, the impressive office, the community reputation, the ability to introduce himself at parties as Attorney Morrison. His achievements are designed to be noticed, discussed, and admired
by others. I chose a different path, building wealth and influence through methods that most people don't understand and rarely discuss at dinner parties. My apartment downtown isn't tiny, as Kevin characterized it. It's a carefully selected unit in a building I own, chosen for its proximity to my work and efficiency for a single person who travels frequently. My lifestyle appears modest because I've learned that visible wealth often attracts attention I prefer to avoid. The dynamics of our sibling relationship were established early. Kevin, 3 years older, naturally assumed the role of family leader and spokesman.
He was student body president in high school, captain of the debate team, valedictorian of his graduating class.
His achievements were public, celebrated, and clearly understood by everyone around him.
He attended Northwestern University on academic scholarships, then Northwestern Law School, building the foundation for what would become a respected legal career in corporate law. I followed a less conventional path, instead of competing directly with Kevin in traditional academic or social arenas. I became fascinated with mathematics, computer systems, and market analysis.
While Kevin was building his public profile through school leadership roles, I was teaching myself programming languages and studying financial markets with the intensity most teenagers reserve for sports or social media. My grades were excellent.
But not perfect. My extracurricular activities were minimal. I graduated from University of Illinois with a degree in mathematics and computational finance credentials that impressed professors and employers but meant little to family members.
Who measured success through more traditional metrics? When Kevin was accepted to law school, the family celebration was extensive.
When I was offered my first position at a Chicago-based quantitative trading firm, the response was polite congratulations followed by questions about when I might consider
settling down into something more stable and understandable. This pattern continued throughout our 20s and 30s.
Kevin's career progression was easy to follow and celebrate associate at a prestigious law firm, promotion to partner, establishment of his own practice specializing in real estate and corporate transactions.
His personal life followed equally. Conventional patterns: marriage to his law school classmate Sarah, purchase of their first home, 2 children born at appropriate intervals. My career development was less visible, but more lucrative.
The quantitative trading firm provided excellent
training in market analysis and risk management. After 3 years, I transitioned to independent consulting, developing trading algorithms for investment firms while building my own portfolio through systematic property acquisition. By my early 30s, I was generating substantial income through multiple revenue streams while maintaining a lifestyle that appeared unremarkable to outside observers. The philosophical differences between Kevin and me extended beyond career choices to fundamental approaches to wealth and family relationships. Kevin viewed success as something to be displayed and discussed, using his achievements to establish social position and family authority.
I treated wealth as a tool for creating security and opportunities, preferring to keep my financial position
private while using resources strategically to help family members who might need assistance. This difference became crucial 3 years ago when our parents, both retired schoolteachers, began experiencing serious financial difficulties. Their pension funds had been reduced through district budget cuts.
Healthcare costs associated with my father's diabetes and my mother's arthritis were consuming increasing portions of their fixed income.
Most significantly, the adjustable rate mortgage they'd taken to fund Kevin's law school education had reset to payments they could no longer afford. Kevin was aware of their struggles, but approached the situation from his perspective as a busy attorney with his own family obligations.
He offered advice about refinancing options and budgeting strategies, but couldn't provide direct financial assistance given his own mortgage, childcare costs, and practice expenses. His solutions were legal and logistical rather than financial. I
took a different approach. Rather than offering advice they couldn't afford to implement, I began quietly addressing their financial problems through strategic interventions they weren't aware of.
I paid off my father's medical debts by arranging for billing errors to be discovered and corrected. I subsidized their grocery costs through contest winnings and utility company rebates that mysteriously appeared in their accounts. Most significantly, when their mortgage company initiated foreclosure proceedings, I purchased the debt through a shell company and restructured the loan terms to payments they could manage. Eventually, I realized that partial measures weren't sufficient.
My parents needed more comprehensive security than I could provide through disguised assistance.
6 months ago, I made the decision to purchase their house entirely, allowing them to remain as tenants paying minimal rent while removing the mortgage burden completely. The transaction was structured through legal entities that concealed my involvement, maintaining their pride while ensuring their security. Kevin knew our parents' financial stress had resolved somehow, but he attributed it to their figuring things out and possibly benefiting from some government program rather than investigating the actual mechanisms.
His assumption that he had purchased their house stemmed from his belief that he was the only family member with sufficient income
and credit to facilitate such a transaction.
Throughout this period, I maintained the same low-profile approach to family relationships that characterized my professional life.
I attended family gatherings, participated in conversations, and continued to deflect questions about my work
with vague responses that satisfied casual curiosity without revealing specifics.
Kevin's growing confidence about his superior family status seemed to stem partly from his belief that I remained a financially struggling younger brother living in a small apartment while he had achieved the success our parents had always hoped for. This Thanksgiving dinner represented the culmination of Kevin's evolving narrative about our comparative achievements.
His decision to publicly contrast our life outcomes reflected both his genuine pride in his accomplishments and his need to establish clear family hierarchy. What he couldn't anticipate was that his timing coincided with my decision to address the underlying misconceptions his confidence was based on. As our parents examined the property deed I placed on the table, the dining room fell silent, except for the gentle clinking of silverware as people set down their utensils to watch this
unexpected development. The document clearly showed that 1247 Elmwood Avenue, the house we were sitting in, was owned by Morrison Family Properties LLC, with David Morrison listed as managing member. I don't understand, my mother said, looking between the deed and me.
What does this mean?
It means that 6 months ago, when you and Dad were facing foreclosure, I purchased the house, I explained calmly.
You've been paying rent to a property management company I established rather than mortgage payments to the bank.
Kevin's been writing checks that go into an escrow account rather than to a mortgage lender. Kevin stared at the document, processing information that contradicted everything he believed about our family's financial arrangements.
This can't be right.
I've been making the mortgage payments.
I talked to Mom and Dad about taking over the house payments when they were having trouble. You talked to them about it, I agreed.
But by then, I'd already resolved the actual problem.
The payments you've been making have been accumulating in an interest-bearing escrow account that I can return to you whenever you'd like. The conversation
that followed lasted well into the evening, covering territory our family had never successfully navigated before.
Kevin struggled to reconcile his assumptions about my financial capabilities with the evidence of property ownership and long-term financial planning. Our parents wrestled with learning that their security had been provided by the son they'd worried about rather than the one they'd celebrated. Why didn't you tell anyone? Kevin asked, his earlier confidence replaced by genuine confusion. Why?
Let everyone think you were struggling while I was the successful one.
Because your success is real and valuable, I replied.
You've built a legal practice that serves important needs in our community.
You've created a stable, loving family.
Those achievements don't become less meaningful because I've been successful in different ways. But why the secrecy?
Why make
yourself look less successful than you actually are?
This question deserved a thoughtful answer. Because I learned early that visible wealth changes how people relate to you.
They either want something from you, or they resent what you have,
or they assume your success diminishes their own achievements.
I prefer relationships based on who we are rather than what we have. My father, who had remained quiet throughout most of this conversation, finally spoke. Son, we're grateful for what you've done.
But we never wanted to be charity cases, even.
For family, you are not charity cases, I assured him. You are my parents.
You invested everything you had in Kevin's education and my opportunities. This is just return on investment. Delayed, but not forgotten. Over the following months, our family relationships evolved to accommodate this new understanding of our
comparative situations. Kevin initially struggled with what he perceived as loss of status, but gradually recognized that my financial success didn't diminish his professional achievements or family contributions.
Our parents learned to accept security as a gift rather than a burden, understanding that their independence was enhanced rather than compromised by not having to worry about housing costs. Most importantly, I learned that strategic privacy about wealth, while protecting me from unwanted attention, had also prevented my family from understanding how much I valued and wanted to support them.
The revelation created opportunities for more honest communication about our different approaches to success and contribution. A year after that Thanksgiving dinner, Kevin and I collaborated on a family investment fund that allowed him to contribute
his legal expertise while I provided capital and financial management skills. His practice expanded to include estate planning and family wealth management, expertise that proved valuable as I developed more systematic approaches to helping our extended family achieve financial security. The house on Elmwood Avenue remains our parents' home, with the deed eventually transferring to them once I was confident their long-term security was established.
Kevin's escrow payments were returned with interest and applied to improvements on his own family's property.
Most significantly, our relationship evolved from competitive comparison to collaborative support, each of us contributing our strengths
to family welfare rather than using our achievements to establish hierarchy. Today, When family members ask about my work, I provide more complete answers rather than deflecting curiosity. This transparency has led to more genuine relationships and opportunities to help family members understand financial planning and investment principles that can benefit their own situations.
Kevin often refers clients to me for investment advice.
While I recommend his legal services for estate planning and property transactions, my brother told the family I was useless, not knowing I bought the house they lived in. His assessment was based on visible markers of success that don't capture every path to achievement or contribution. The revelation that followed wasn't about proving him wrong, but about creating opportunities for more honest family relationships based on understanding rather than assumptions. The experience taught me that strategic privacy, while protecting against certain risks, can also prevent the authentic relationships that make success meaningful. True family strength comes not from individual achievements, but from using our different capabilities to support each other's security and growth. Sometimes the greatest gift isn't maintaining your privacy, but sharing your resources and knowledge in ways that lift everyone together. In the end, being underestimated by family wasn't a burden to endure, but an opportunity to demonstrate that contribution comes in many forms, and that the most meaningful success is often the kind that benefits others rather than impressing them.